Hello, welcome back to the Juniper Vale. Today we're going to do a reading on why did J.D. Vance lease a farmhouse in Virginia, which is basically his third house because, he's so down with the people. And I'm here with my mom, and she's sitting over there acting like she's not here. Also, Summer's here, looking out the window. So we're going to do a Celtic cross, trying to figure out why Vance, Maybelline Queen, moved or partially moved to this place in Virginia that is supposedly lots of Democrats there. I don't know. Very rich old money, though. All right. So the first card is going to be the present, the self. This reveals the current situation and what is now happening. All right. So we have the Queen of Swords reversed. And then we have the problem, which is the Four of Swords. So the Queen of Swords reversed is interesting because the first thing I think of is Usha as the queen. I was wondering if perhaps this was something that she wanted in order to agree to have another child. But the reversal of the Queen of Swords talks about you are thinking too much with your heart and are becoming too emotionally involved with the current situation. So you have to think about things more objectively because emotions can lead you astray. So there seems to be a lot of emotions going on, probably within the family itself, perhaps between JD and Usha. Hi, Jack. Jack's here. Oh, he's opening the door and he's leaving. Okay, bye, Jack. So I think there's a lot of emotions involved in the reason of why this was done. It could be, it seems like this is also kind of the third place they've lived in the last 3 years. I've seen sources on the internet say that in other places they've lived, people didn't particularly like them, either because the motorcade took up so much time and space, and it was just like kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? A pain in the neck to the neighbors. So that could be part of it as well. I think it's safe to say that he's not a likable person. I don't know about the rest of his family, but so the Four of Swords is the problem. Four of Swords is about taking that time to rest. Usually it's almost like a minor death card in a way. She's laying there with these swords around her. It's almost like you're taking time away just for yourself. There's stillness, there's peace, and it's time to retreat from chaos. So that kind of makes sense because some articles also described this this place as a retreat, like a part-time retreat to be away from the craziness of either the vice presidential home or whatever area they also have, I believe, a second home in somewhere in the DC area, I think. I'm not sure. But it seems more of like an idea to have a retreat to move away from the craziness of everything. So let's see. The third card is the past. So this is how we see past events and how they shape the current situation. This can give us some information on influences. So that is the Lover's card reversed. Unhappy marriage. That's what I say. I basically, this is, it doesn't have to be Usha and Vance, but it definitely can be. or it could be multiple kind of situations. But I think it's Usha and Vance. It could even be Vance trying to run away from Taterhead. Annoying. He doesn't want to be part of the. He wants to be as far away from him as possible, possibly. But I think this is showing frustration in their marriage, which is probably why they had another child, which is never a good idea. But I think in a way this also leads to my idea of Usha being the Queen of Swords and saying, if you want to have another child, we're getting out of Dodge. We need a retreat. So the future card, this represents what could be a likely term of events in case nothing changes. And that's the Page of Wands. So this is usually a short time happening, not necessarily the final resolution. So pages are new. They're the start of the court cards. They are young. I see this and I think, is this more talking about their children? Will their children be able to just spend a bit more time outside of the city, more in, this retreat, which is like a 500-acre kind of park in a way, or a farm. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. Let's see. When I look up the Page of Wands, it talks about somebody who's holding that staff and they're looking at a desolate landscape. So I think that's very interesting, considering they are leasing a house on a farm. Usually pages, they know what to do. They're driven to succeed, but they have a lack of experience. It could also be Vance, in a way, using this as a point to gather his thoughts together because he figures he's going to be president. I read that Ronald Reagan had also leased a home in this area when he was doing his presidential campaign for 1980. So it kind of is very similar in that way. So there's this idea of using the land as a retreat to not only spend time away from like a city atmosphere, but also probably to get thoughts together. So the fifth card is about the conscious. This is looking at what is being focused on, where the mind is. It can also represent goals and desires, and that is the Devil card. So that's interesting. The consciousness is the Devil card. How would you interpret that? I mean, the Devil card is about addictions. It's about being stuck, even though technically you can change something. You just have to make that choice, or you have to make a realization to yourself that you may not want to make, right? So that's like, if you have an addiction, you have to realize you have an addiction in order to move on from it. So let me look a little bit more about the Devil. And it is about materialism, jealousy, deviance, excess, which is funny because this is kind of like their third place to live. And that's like an excess, especially since he said he worried that he wouldn't be in touch with people anymore because he doesn't go grocery shopping anymore, but he leases a third home. So yeah, I would say that's excess. Let's see. Focused on and where the mind is. So it's a bit scary to say that he's focused on the Devil, in the sense that he's focused on materialism, negativity, addiction, jealousy, deviance. I mean, that's kind of like what the card is saying. I think it just kind of goes on to him thinking about, he's using this time away to think about what he's going to do when he's president. And to me, it doesn't sound like he wants to do particularly great things. So that's a little unnerving. The sixth card is the unconscious mind. So this reveals what is truly driving the situation: feelings, beliefs, values. Uh-oh, my husband's calling me. Not now, Tito. Anyway, so unconsciousness. This card could be a surprise, could also be a hidden influence, and this is the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is a miser. He's holding on to all the pentacles and he's not sharing. Um, this is a person who does not want to share. They are not charitable. They want everything for themselves. And I kind of think that goes well with the devil and this idea of him preparing to be president. He probably has people within the administration that he doesn't trust and he does not want to share with. For example, Marco Rubio, who seems to be Trump's favorite. And I think this is a way for Vance, the Maybelline queen, to get away from that area so he can do things on his own without people knowing. So it's like there's this idea of maybe Usha wanted away from all the chaos. And Vance is like, yeah, okay, for the kids. Sure, yeah, for the kids. But he's really, he's like, and also for me. So the seventh card, this is the influence. So this can be interpreted a little broadly, but in general, it relates to how you see yourself and how that perception can influence as the situation plays out. King of Pentacles. He sees himself as the president. King of Pentacles is often Taterhead. And when I did other readings on Vance just recently, the King of Pentacles kept coming up. So he sees himself as in charge or being in charge or waiting to be in charge. I think that's pretty literal. The external influence. So this is how the world around you affects you in the situation. Could be social and emotional environment that you are operating in, as well as others perceive you, the fool. People think you're an idiot. People perceive you as getting ready. I mean, he's not fooling anybody. He's getting ready to start a journey as president, and people don't think he has the experience or that he particularly knows what he's doing. I think that's very literal as well. This guy, people don't trust that he knows what he's doing. Then it's not just the people of the United States, probably also the administration, which is probably why he's in that Four of Pentacles stage where he's keeping his thoughts and his desires and his plan to himself. He's not sharing his ideas because he doesn't trust people, which would make sense because they probably shouldn't trust each other in the administration. Let's see. So hopes and fears is the ninth card. So one of the harder positions to decode. This can represent both what you desire as well as what you're trying to avoid. This is the World card. That makes so much sense. He wants the world, right? He wants to achieve the ultimate greatness of becoming president, but he also fears it. Because I think deep down, he knows that people don't like him. He can't trust people in the administration. He probably had to fire a lot of people, replace them with other people. Does he even really know who to replace them with? Probably not. People don't like him. And he probably can't trust people that want to be in his cabinet because they probably don't like him. But he can't tell. He can't tell who to trust. So he wants to be president. He desires it. That's his hope, but it's also his fear. And then the last card is the outcome. So this is like the summary card. Given all that is happening, what is the likely resolution of the event? The Two of Pentacles. I was hoping we'd get the Tower card, but the Two of Pentacles, that's trying to find a balance. He'll just constantly be trying to find this balance of how to handle everything. So when he's president, right? He's just trying to balance this. He's trying to balance that. He's probably trying to balance things within his family life. Um, Probably not going to be paying enough attention to his family. Usha's probably going to be like, why are we here? I thought we are supposed to be spending more time together as a family. But he's got other priorities. His priorities are becoming president and creating his own legacy. What Usha's like, that's not why you said we were going to be here. So what's the deal? So there's going to be a lot of balancing on his part as to why they moved, or at least spending time in this lease in Virginia. And I don't think he's going to find it very easy. What's the underlying energy? Is the King of Wands reversed? What is the King of Wands reversed? King of Wands reversed. Arrogance. That is like perfection. Quite aggressive in the pursuit of goals, whether he is aware of it or not. Not showing restraint, not showing humility. It's the worst of the fire qualities: selfishness and ruthlessness, manipulation. That's the underlying energy. He manipulated Usha into having this child. She's like, okay, well, this is what I want, to have this child. So he's like, fine, we'll do that. But I'm really doing it to plan and to make my own plans away from the people I do not trust and the Trump administration. And I'm going to act like I'm a good, happy father, but in reality, I'm focused on something else. And that is why Maybelline Queen leased a house in Virginia. Man, I get good readings when my mom's in the room. I'm going to have to bring her in every time. All right, everybody. I hope that made sense. Let me know what you think. If you want me to read on anything else in particular, let me know. And I'll see you later.